All right, it worked on the first try. It is a Christmas miracle. Hello, everybody. My name is Chris. This is my channel. We love comics, and I hope you guys and gals out there enjoyed your weekend. It was nice and rainy out here, but hey, you got to have some rain to keep the plants growing and see a rainbow every now and then. So, yeah, I'm in a corny mood, but I want to welcome everybody and thank you for taking the time to check out my channel. I have a comic haul. If you've seen many of my live shows, I always show I have tons of boxes of comics that I have yet to open. Some of them are months old, some of them are over a year plus old that I've had since I was in New York and have not unboxed them. You know, I didn't know there'd be situations like what's going on now in the world, but I always thought just in case if there were times I couldn't get any new books, I would have enough comics to make videos for a long time. So I decided to open about 8 to 10 boxes worth of comics and do a comic haul to show you some of these books. There are definitely some books you would want to add to your collection, so if you're looking for an Amazing Fantasy 15 in here, you will not see it, so I'm sorry to disappoint those that are looking for the Holy Grail books, but there are definitely still some key issue comics that I think you would want to add to your collection that will most likely go up in value, and that's the best I could say, because of course there are no guarantees. So before I start, if you see in the live chat, if you join in, if you are in the live chat, I will pick at the end of the video somebody to become a surprise subscriber shout out. If you are today's surprise subscriber shout out, and you don't even have to be a subscriber if you don't want to, that's up to you, but I hope you will. But if you are picked and you have a YouTube channel, one of the benefits of being the surprise subscriber shout out is I will allow you in the comment section of the video when it uploads for you to post the link to your channel. Of course, I will verify to make sure it is something worthy of watching. In other words, making sure it's not a porn site or anything like that that promotes violence or something. But if you guys are in the comment section and you see the surprise subscriber shout outs link, that means it's been approved, and it's most likely a comic video a channel, but it doesn't have to be. As long as it's something, it could be even a makeup channel for all I care. As long as it's something that's promoting, you know, good, I will allow it. And then I would always recommend click on the link if you see it. Go support some of your fellow YouTubers and just say you came from my channel. So also, the cashback program, the bonus is going until the end of the year, so take advantage of it if you have not. The link is in the description, it is in the live chat, and it's also pinned to the comments section. If you click on the link and spend $30 or more with any of their affiliated programs, you will get $30 cash back. Now you have to spend it within the first 90 days. Do not use best offer. Make sure you check for restrictions. And I get a one-time referral fee for anybody kind enough to click on the link, sign up, and then do that. So everybody wins, and that's what I want on this channel. All right, so let me put on the video camera. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for you to see the comics that I got. And I just wanted to show an update. My room is almost 100% complete. I'll show you some of the things that I've added. I added a couple of more shelves in the center. A bunch of shelving for my graded books on this wall. And then that's actually a custom-made arcade machine that I had built a couple years ago. It's got a couple of thousand games built into it. But there are a couple other shelves in the back. Unfortunately, I don't know how far this will go. So then, of course, this is just some of the comics that I have not unboxed yet. If you look on the top there, and here, there are tons of boxes that I have yet to open that contain comics, even graded comics. Let me fix this a second. There we go. I got a little bit more of a wire. There we go, so you can see better. So there we go. So there are some more up top, some shelving in the back, so I've definitely been doing the work. Alright, so did the video freeze? Because if it did, that's going to make it very difficult to show. Let me just see for a second. Okay, so it froze for a second. It's still going, so don't worry. It will go back in. When I was pulling that, I pulled out the wire a little bit, so it's going to freeze for a second, but you will see it again. There we go. Let me just move the wire because the cat keeps moving it. There we go. So, speaking of cats, here's Oregon. He wanted to be a part of the show, and he ended up knocking over the wire. So it froze for a second. But this is one of my many stray cats that we take care of. This one's an angel. He's been with me for 7 years now, and every time I do a video, he wants to be a part of it. So, for those of you who like seeing my cats, there you go. Alright, so you could see, yeah, unfortunately, he hit the wire, and it just disconnected it for a second. So, let's get into the comics, because that's why you guys are here. So, let me put him down. He doesn't want to go down. There you go. And he's stuck on my shirt. There we go. Alright, so let's get into why you're here. Alright. And I want to thank the 10 people that have already hit the like button. Always appreciate this. Now this I got back in April. Just opened it today. This is before pretty much most people stopped caring about this book, and the prices are starting to rise, and I'll explain one of the reasons why. But I bought 10 copies recently. Now these are all damaged. If you could see in the corner, there's some tears in every one of them. So this person sold a bundle of 10 of them, and I'll show you better. I changed the camera angle so there's a lot less glare. But you can see each and every one of them has like a rip. Some of them go all the way across, some don't. So they'll probably range between a 3.5 to maybe up to a 5.0 at most for some of them. So there was some kind of damage that happened to these. Maybe they all stuck together and they kind of ripped them apart. But I paid $20 a piece for them. Now, if you've heard, there are rumors of the character that's going to potentially be the main villain of the Eternals movies. And he is in this book. This is Eternals #1, which of course is the first appearance of the Eternals. But it's also the first appearance of what is rumored, and I'm saying rumored because you never know, anything can change, or rumors can be wrong. But they said the first appearance of the villain, if he shows up in the movie, is also in issue #1. So once people start to realize that, and if it is confirmed, this book is going to continue to go up. So that's why I always tell people, if you don't get it early, don't buy it right after you hear an announcement, because that's when the price skyrockets. Now, normally, this movie was supposed to come out actually next month, but obviously it's not going to happen until sometime, I think, November of next year. People forget about books because there's so many different movies, TV deals, new first appearances, origins, deaths, all these other things happening in the comic book world and the movie and TV world that people forget them. That's the best time to pounce on them, when you see the prices going down. Many people end up shying away from them for some reason, which makes no sense, because Marvel movies have a very good track record of being good. And even though some will say, well, they don't know who the Eternals are, how are they going to do well? Well, most people didn't know about Guardians of the Galaxy. Most people thought Ant-Man was going to bomb. Now, of course, Ant-Man wasn't a blockbuster movie of all time, but it was still a good movie. And the Guardians of the Galaxy films did incredibly well. So once things start getting closer to quote-unquote normal, and they start showing trailers for the Eternals and everything, and if the movies end up being something good, well, the Eternals are going to be in the complete Phase 4, if not continuing on to Phase 5. They're going to be a big part of the MCU going forward, especially when they're moving into space. So Eternals books are going to be very relevant. So you'd be crazy to pass these up right now. Now, I bought one a while ago, a CGC 9.8, and I'm holding on to that one because it's definitely going to continue to increase in value. But now that they said that the rumor is that the villain who originates in Eternals #1, if it ends up being true, that book is going to rise even more. So 10 copies of that book. I paid $20 a piece, so $200 for all 20. Once the trailer comes out, I'll sell these lower grades, but I can make a good amount of money on these. $20, even with them a little damaged. You know, when the 9.8 ends up being $2,000 to $3,000, you know, it can happen, because right now it's around the $1,300 range, and there isn't even any trailers right now. And if the movie ends up really good, and they do Eternals 2 and 3 and so on, like they did with Guardians of the Galaxy, that book and the higher grade books are going to continue to go up. So I'm just sitting on these, waiting for the time where they will make some money. But right now, even a 0.5 of that book graded is about a $35 book. These are definitely better than 0.5, so I know I'll make my money on those. All right, next up. Now the good, well, it does have a price sticker on it. Now, I could probably try and peel it off, but when it comes to Silver Age books, you don't really want to do it. But this is Fantastic Four, number 36. 3/4 of the back cover and 3 pages are torn off. This person paid $85 for this book. It's the first appearance of Medusa, which of course is from the Inhumans. Now, I'm not sure if this is the first appearance of the Frightful Four, though. I don't think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it is, I know, at least the first appearance of Medusa right there, who in the TV show, her power is her hair. And in the first episode of the series, they cut her hair. Makes perfect sense to me. Probably wondering one of many reasons why that show did not do well. But I paid $42.50 for this book. I do think Eternals are going to have some connection with the Inhumans at some point. So I don't think Inhumans are done. So we'll see what happens. But if they use any of the Inhumans, you know they're going to use Black Bolt, because he's the leader. And he was either married or in a relationship with Medusa. So I'm sure she would be in there as well. And I'm sure people would love to see Lockjaw again. He was one of the few good things of that TV show. So I would look for his first appearance as well. Black Bolt is Fantastic Four number 46. So that's still a good book to get. And again, because the Inhumans TV show did so poorly, that dropped off the face of the earth. To me, that's the time to pounce on it if you did not get it already. You'll probably get some good deals. Now, of course, you're taking a chance, but that's the thing about speculation. The fun is sometimes taking the chance and ending up being successful. And as long as you can understand that sometimes you're not going to be successful and you're okay with that, well, you're going to do well. So just be happy with whatever you collect regardless. All right, next up, when I see these early, especially when it comes to issue 20 and under, if I see a good deal, I'm going to get these every time. It does have some white spotting on 2 spots. Looks like little bubbles. I don't want to know what that is, but I'm hoping it's not what anybody might be thinking. It's got a date stamp, but for Silver Age books, I don't care. Love this. This is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 12. To me, from issue 20 and down, you cannot go wrong. Some of them are not key issues, like Amazing Spider-Man number 8, which is the first Living Brain, nobody really cares about. Amazing Spider-Man number 10 is the first Enforcers, nobody really cares about. But this is the 3rd appearance of Doc Ock, so it's not a major key issue, but again, you're talking early Silver Age Spider-Man. It has, for some reason, like I said, it's probably going to be hard to see. It's got the date stamp, but see, it's got that white dot there. Hopefully somebody wasn't too excited to get this book at some point, and it's got some free DNA. And yeah, even though I'm about to turn 50 in November, I'll still act like a kid. But to me, I love this art. You can't go wrong with Steve Ditko. It does have a color break crease along here, but it's very hard to see. Always loved, when I was a kid, when I first started collecting comics in the 80s, I collected any Amazing Spider-Man that had this instead of the full figure of Spider-Man, which happened around the Bronze Age. I just love that image. It just makes Amazing Spider-Man very nostalgic. It's probably about a 3.5 to a 4.0 range, somewhere around there. I paid $85.95. So to get this book for under $100, to me, I think is a no-brainer. And Amazing Spider-Man is going to be in the MCU for a very long time, so definitely a book to think about getting if you haven't gotten it. And if they ever use Doc Ock, especially with the whole Sinister Six thing, books like that are going to become more and more expensive because eventually the first appearance gets way too expensive. Everybody goes to the second appearance, which I believe is Amazing Spider-Man number 7. And then they might go to the 3rd and so on. So you get what you can afford. Speaking of which, more Amazing Spider-Man. Again, you cannot go wrong. I've shown these many times. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 17. This is the 2nd appearance of Green Goblin, but the first appearance of his glider. Because remember, in Amazing Spider-Man 14, he has what I call the magical vacuum. So this is the first appearance of his glider. So that's what he's really known for as far his mode of transportation. I doubt he takes the subway very often. But another key book to get, one I will get each and every time. Again, it's got some color break increases, not anything major, but for a book from the 60s, it doesn't surprise me. There's some color breaks. See, there you go. You can see them better all along there. And there's wrinkles, but that's easily pressed out because it looks like it might have had, not water damage, but, sometimes people have areas like here in Florida where it gets, a lot of moisture and humidity in the air, and that could wrinkle the comics, because I don't see any water damage per se. So it does have wrinkles, but they could easily be pressed out. And along the bottom edge, there is some color breaks, but again, nothing major. I paid a grand total of $102.75 for this book. Again, anything from issue 20 down is worth getting. Speaking of worth getting, this is definitely a book to get, because if you cannot afford the first appearance of this character, and it's been really getting pricey, and you haven't even heard anything even outside of rumors about this character eventually showing up, this is the time to get these kind of books before they become too expensive. This is Fantastic Four, Annual Number 2, which is the origin of Doctor Doom. Now, this is definitely a key book to get. It's one of those thicker books, so be careful to make sure you don't see the edge facing forward. That means it's basically been flattened. Sometimes pressings can help that, but it really depends on the condition of the book. But you could still get this one relatively cheap, because, good luck trying to get a 0.5 of Fantastic Four number 5 for under $1,000. And that book is before they end up doing anything remotely even talking about Doctor Doom in the MCU. But we know that these characters are showing up. So it's just a matter of when. And they're really planning on doing a lot for this character. Because, one of the biggest complaints that people have about the MCU is their lack of good villains. Now, Thanos changed that. Loki definitely is not into that category. But a lot of their villains are kind of one and done. Nobody really cares about characters. With Ant-Man and the Wasp, the character Ghost, and even in the first Ant-Man, I think it was the guy pretending to be Yellow Jacket, which, by the way, is supposed to be a hero. But most of their villains aren't that great. But now, since they've acquired the Fox properties with all the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, these characters are coming. Galactus, Doctor Doom, Magneto. That should be interesting against characters like Thor or Captain America with their metal shields. If you've ever seen the channel Dorky, or is it Dorkly, they have a cartoon that they did maybe 3 or 4 years ago if Magneto entered the MCU and how easily he'd be able to defeat everybody. Especially the first person he goes up to is Iron Man and basically crunches him into a baseball. So it was it's funny if you ever get to see that or if you've ever seen it. But this is definitely a major character. I only paid $39.38 for this book. So under $40, this is probably about a 3.5 to 4.5 range. Again, it's got a couple of wrinkles, no water damage, but that could easily be pressed out. But that book is definitely going to rise in value because, like I said, good luck trying to get a 0.5 of that book of Fantastic Four number 5, which is Doctor Doom's first appearance, for under $1,000. All right, so these two came together. Now, this has to be pressed because when they sent them, they arrived. The whole edge has concaves down the spine, which means somebody compressed them. But that could easily be pressed out, so these can definitely still be 9.8 contenders. But this is a book, if I find good deals, I'm going to get them each day, every day. So, of course, this is Venom number 3. This is the regular first print. And this one is the PX Previews exclusive. This, of course, is the first appearance of Null. Now, of course, third print is the absolute one to get, but that one's getting pretty pricey. You're talking over $700 for a 9.8. You could definitely get these for cheaper. I got these after I split it with the shipping and handling. I only paid $84.87 a piece. So roughly about $170, give or take. Like $169 and something for both of these. You can't even get one for that price these days anymore. So it shows that I bought them, you know, like I said, a couple of months ago. And speaking of which, just to show you, I don't know if it's going to come up, but just to show you the Eternals box, here is, I'm trying to do it so you can see it. There is the date, just to show. And I always write down 10 of the Eternals #1, $20 each. But you could see that I'm not just making it up. I've had this since April 8th of this year. I forgot to show that. So it shows that I've had some of these for some close to over a year. Now, this is a book I talked about a couple of months ago. I did not know this existed until I saw a YouTube channel that talked about it, or it was on Go Collect, I think, actually. But this is why it pays to watch other people's comic book hauls, because some people may say, oh, yeah, you're just showing comics, but every now and then, there may be a book that you have never heard of before or did not know the significance of, and you could end up getting a book that many people may pass up because they didn't know about it. And that's why I always talk about research, but it shows even people like myself that have been collecting comics since the 80s cannot know everything. Anybody that says they know everything about comics is just trying to brag about something that is just not true. But this is definitely a book to get. Now, this one is a lot nicer than what the auction stated. It does have the concave along the spine, but again, that can be pressed out. I don't see many color breaks. I see 1, 2... I think that's it. About 2 color breaks, but considering this is has a lot of yellow in it, this is definitely worth getting. So this is Comic Scenes number 31. Now, if you watched my video, you will know what the significance of this book is, but of course I will tell you about it. Now, this is like a magazine size, and this is not an official first appearance because it's just a preview of Batman Adventures 12. But they show the first image of Harley Quinn in this book. So this predates Batman Adventures 12 by about 6 months. But like I said, this is not canon. Because it's like, for example, with Spawn. There are 2 books that are preview books that came out before Spawn #1. But they're not considered his first appearance. Spawn #1 is considered the first appearance. So make no mistake, this book is not Harley Quinn's first appearance in comic book form, but it is the first time you ever see an image of her before she got into the comics. So this, like I said, predates Batman Adventures 12, and I only paid about, I forget what I paid for it, and I'm not even going to bother looking it up because it'll take too long, but I know I only spent about $40 for this book. I definitely got it for I did write it down. It was $58.99. Sorry about that. It's like really faded, so I couldn't see it. So I paid $58.99. I've seen this selling for $200 to $300. Now, of course, this isn't a 9.8, and a 9.8 is going to back you about $1,500. But this is easily an 8.5 to a 9.0 range. Cool book to have, especially if you don't have her first appearance or you can't afford it. That's an alternative way to say I have an early issue of Harley Quinn. But you know, you didn't have to spend that kind of money for the Batman Adventures 12. But again, that's not canon, so keep that in mind. All right, one last time, don't forget to wait until the end, because I am doing today's surprise subscriber shout-out. Tracy is best says, Chris, aren't you worried about getting refunds if your books are damaged if you haven't opted them? Well, here's the thing. Any book, like, for example, if I bought an Amazing Spider-Man 14, First Green Goblin, I'm not going to wait months to open that. So my Mega Key books, I always open right away and do the unboxings for you guys. So even though some of these they're key issues, but they're not major $1,000 books, I trust my instincts. And plus, if I see the box is damaged, I'm going to open it. But if the box is completely perfect, you know what, I'm willing to take the chance. And you know what, I have not yet to be burned at all. So I trust my instincts. If my instincts say I should open up a book just to make sure, that's when I always uncover a problem. But if you've noticed, I've done things like this many times, and never once have I ever been burned. So do I recommend other people do it? They may not have the confidence to trust themselves as much as I do when it comes to that. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. But you know what? Like I said, even if I got burned on one of these, you know what? If I lose $30, $40, it's not the end of the world. So, yeah, I really don't worry about those things. Like, even when it comes to sending books to get graded, I never worry, because if you create worry, you create doubt, and people just don't know how much that influences your life more than you think. So, no, I don't have a problem with that at all. So, like I was saying, and thank you for that question. It is a good question that people should be asking. Don't forget to sign up for the cashback program. The bonus of $30 cash back instead of the normal $10 cash back is extended until the end of this year. You got to click on the link. It's got to be the first time you ever use it. You got to check for restrictions. You got to spend $30 or more of any of their affiliated sponsors within the first 90 days, and you will get $30 cash back bonus. Keep in mind, you don't get the $30 back right away, because they have to make sure you're not just, you know, buying something and then turn around and ask for a refund the day later after you get your money. And they send it to you either PayPal, and if you don't have PayPal, they can send you a check. Now, keep in mind, checks will take longer, especially this day and age. But I've used it, and many people have used it. Take advantage of it. I get a one-time referral fee if you do. But last but not least, this is a spec book. I have issue number 1, but this one was actually rarer to get, and it has another first appearance. I doubt they'll ever use her, but you never know, because if they use the character from issue number 1, which as soon as you see this, you'll know what it is, you never know if they use this character, because especially these days with female characters, you never know. So this is one of the, well, I can't say, well, the number 1 issue is one of the better known independent first Silver Age appearances of a character. Let me take this out of the backing board and I'll tell you about this one. So this is Vampirella, but this is issue number 2. I already have issue number 1. Absolutely love that cover, which is the first appearance of Vampirella. This has a very low print run, because you have to understand this book came out, I think, around 1968, 1969, somewhere in that area. I believe it's 68, correct me if I'm wrong. But this character was not very popular back then. Now, this is not Marvel and it's not DC. So it's a Warren magazine, so it's magazine size. So even though the number 1 probably sold pretty decent for an independent, number 2 definitely had a very low print run. So this is a hard comic to get. I only paid $25.04 for this book. Now, there is some minor significance, and I'm saying minor because you never know if they'll ever use this character. And if they don't, hey, I spent $25, and that's okay. If they do, I spent $25, and this could be ending up a very valuable book. Now, this is the first appearance of Evilly the Witch. So you had Vampirella, and you have her cousin Evilly the Witch, which is Vampirella's cousin. So you see her on the cover. So if they ever had a Vampirella movie, you never know these days. I doubt they'd use the same costume as in the comics, especially with people being so overly sensitive these days. You never know if they use this character. And if they do, it's not only a low print run, it's not only her first appearance, it's not only the second appearance ever of Vampirella, but it's also the characters on the cover. This book could end up being a potential minor spec book. Now, this one's got a couple of color break increases along the spine. It does have 2 color break increases in the corner. So I would say this is probably between a 6.5 and a 7.0 in that range. Maybe between 6.0 and 7.0. But with the low print run and spending $25, because it was $25.04, so that includes shipping and handling, definitely worth getting for that price. I don't know if you'll find that, but yeah, hey, you never know. You can go to a flea market, if any are open anymore, because I know the one that I used to go to is closed forever. You never know if some store, a comic book store, has this in the dollar bin, or you find it at a garage sale, or you had it and didn't even know you had it. But that is definitely a cool book to take the chance on if you can get it for cheap. So those are the books. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I'm about to do today's surprise subscriber shout-out. If you are today's surprise subscriber shout-out, and again, you have a YouTube channel, one of the bonus benefits of being the surprise subscriber shout-out, even if you're not a subscriber, you can post the link to your channel. Just keep in mind, I do have to approve it first. I have to check to make sure it's not something that I don't want, you know, somebody's child to see. But if you see that link from the surprise subscriber shout-out, click on it, go give them a subscribe and at least give their channel a chance, because it helps the community, and I think that's a win-win for everybody. So today's surprise subscriber shout out, going to one of my very favorite covers. Well, it's not specifically the cover, but Silver Age Surfer. You are going to be today's surprise subscriber shout out. One of my favorite Silver Age covers is Silver Surfer number 4, and that's the one with Thor on the Rainbow Bridge. Absolutely love that cover. I bought that when I was a kid back in the 80s. I probably spent $10 on it. It's one of my many books that got stolen, but as soon as I saw that cover, I had to have it. So, Silver Age Surfer, you are today's surprise subscriber shout out. I want to thank the 27 people that were kind enough to hit the like button. I really appreciate the support. This has been an interesting year for us all. Those who spread the power of kindness, you know, we need more of that. So I want to thank those that were caring enough just to do something as simple as hit a like button. If you hit the subscribe button, that's awesome. If you share it, that's amazing. And I would love to see your comments in the comment section. I always respond to everybody's comments. So let me know what you thought about these books. I'll have more videos coming. Hit the notification bell, but always check my channel periodically, because YouTube is very famous for not even giving people who hit the notification bell a notification that a video is made. And sometimes that could be because somebody subscribed to like 50 to 200 different YouTube channels. I mean, even if you got notifications from every single one of them, there'd be so many you'd miss them. So if you like watching my channel, even if you don't get a notification, come back every now and then to see if I've made a video. Because even though things have slowed down a little bit, I'm trying to pace myself. I'll make videos at least once a week, if not more. So thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thanks to everybody in the live chat. I don't respond to them while I'm doing this, so I don't get distracted. But I always read them after I'm done, so I'm about to do that now. So hit that cashback button. Go join it. Check the restrictions. Get yourself that $30 bonus if you haven't done it. And do not forget, it is not you, it is not I. It is we love comics. Thank you as always. Have a great day. I'll see you next video. Alright, it's Easter egg time for those who stuck around. I'm going to do one quick unboxing for you guys. It's another way of saying thank you for being one of my power viewers or ultra power viewers. So if you're one of my power viewers, and a power viewer watches a video from beginning to end, an ultra power viewer is when you click on my videos, you watch them till the beginning and end every single time. Now, obviously, I cannot check that, nor do I want to, because, you know, I'm taking people's word for it, and it's not really a big deal if you didn't anyway. But I like to do this every now and then as a thank you for those that watch full videos. So this is one of many unboxings I have to do from Southside Comics. Check the link in the description if you want the details of a discount code for them, where you can get 10% off your first order. Alright, so we got a bunch of books. Now, I have a deal with them where I don't get paid, so there's no contracts or anything like that. And speaking of which, check the video I did 2 days ago. There was another comic book company, comic book store that contacted me, and they had a special exclusive pre-order book that's already on sale that I thought was definitely worth showing. So check out the video. It's from 2 days ago. Not many people saw it, but it's a cool book, and I'm sure it's still available because it's for pre-order. But with Southside, if I mention a book, I get that book for free. But, of course, like I said, I do not get paid, so there are no contracts. So this was when I was talking about the Comic Book Wednesdays books. So let's show what I got. So this one Superman 25. So yeah, go check out Southside Comics. This is the first appearance of a new character. His name is Sinmar. Who knows what he'll end up being? Extra sized anniversary issue. So this is normally $5.99. So with the deal with Southside, I mean, he's nice enough to send me one comic each for free. So hey, you know, especially being out of work for 7 months, it's nice to be able to still get comics. And with the discounts that I provide for you guys, you know, you guys win as well. So I want to make sure it's for everybody. This is definitely a book worth getting. We'll see what ends up happening to it. This is Web of Venom Wrath #1. Now there is a 1 in 50 variant. I bought one as a CGC 9.8. I'm waiting for it to arrive. It's probably going to take a couple of months. But that was cover A. And this is the variant cover. So definitely packaged well, as they usually do, because I don't know if you saw it, they had it in the mailer, but they also put it in a bag. They actually fold it over, which is something I highly recommend, because if you're going to put it in a bag, if you leave it completely open, they're going to slide all around. So that's a very smart thing that they do, that they not only fold it over, but then they tape it, so this way it's completely making the comics immobile, which is something, if you're going to mail comics, worth doing. Alright, so this book was hot for a while, but not so much anymore because of the situation. I'm sure you'll know it. But when it comes to deaths in comics, they never, unless you're Uncle Ben, you pretty much always come back. So I have a feeling this particular character, I doubt they're going to have what they said was one of the more powerful villains in the MCU. 2 or 3 issues later die, and that's the end of them. I doubt that's going to happen, so I have a feeling that this character will be back. Now, obviously, I cannot confirm that, but it's still worth taking the chance on. But this, of course, is Thor #4. This is the 3rd printing. Let's just double check. Yes, it's the 3rd printing. You could tell by the barcode. If you don't know what I mean by that, we'll go under my playlist under tips and advice, and I have a video about how you can tell if a comic is a first print, if it's a variant, just by looking at the code for modern books. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't work for every modern book, but it absolutely works for this one. But check that video out if you haven't. This is actually a 4th print, and this is one of those that goes on its side. This is Thor #3. Absolutely love this cover, and of course, you got Beta Ray Bill. Love that character. That's another comic book. When I saw it in the 80s when I was a kid, saw the cover, didn't know who the character was. I just thought it was a cool piece of artwork, and I bought that cover. And it was the first appearance. I think it's Thor 337. First appearance of Beta Ray Bill, who's rumored to be in Guardians of the Galaxy. That would be awesome if that happened. This is a 3rd printing of Thor #1. Donny Cates is definitely kicking it these days. And like I said, I just have a feeling that Black Winter is not done. This is another one, because I wouldn't have normally have picked this up, but because I mentioned it with the free comic book day and it is a #1, who knows? But this is The Rise of Ultraman, issue #1. Definitely feels like a thicker sized book than the regular books over there. It is a Marvel book. I always thought Boom Studios did Ultraman, but, you know, people lose the rights, and Disney and Marvel basically buy everything these days. But this is the regular cover of that book. I don't know if there's any variants, because even if I mention them, usually they send the variants as well. But, especially with Marvel, it doesn't shock me. Alright, so they also had, I didn't notice this, Superman 25, what I mentioned before, but this is the variant. And of course, first appearance of that character. Who knows what's going to happen with that one. And last but not least, Dark Knight's Death Metal Trinity Crisis #1. Looks like it has a lot to do with Superman. Obviously, I haven't read it because I just opened it now. But we'll see what happens. So, as you can see, all the books are perfect. Southside Comics does a great job. Go check them out if you haven't. Like I said, the description with the link and the discount codes. You scroll all the way down to the bottom of the description. But before you do that, if you go to the description of my videos, check out all the different things that I offer. There's discount codes for a lot of different websites where you can buy comics and things that I don't talk about because I don't want my videos being about every single thing. So if you haven't gone to my description of my videos, go check them out. See all the different discount codes that I offer you guys. A lot of them I don't get paid for. I just do it because it's nice. But it's definitely something that'll help you, so check it out if you haven't. So that's my little bonus round for everybody that stuck around to watch this entire video. Obviously, I know not everybody is going to see it, but those who did, let me know in the comment section. Tell everybody you are a We Love Comics Ultra Power Viewer or Power Viewer. 39 people hit the like button. Thank you so much for that. I always appreciate that. It means the world to me. And thank you for everybody that left a comment, whether it was live or whether it was Memorex. And if you're my age, you know what that means. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Let me know in the comment section what you thought. And do not forget, it is not you, it is not I, it is We Love Comics. Have a great day, everybody. And no, there's no more. Or is there? Nope.